Welcome to True News, where all of our news is obviously true, because after all, we are True News. I'm Truth and Honesty, and today in Saskatchewan, our COVID numbers... Oh wait, I've just received word of breaking news of a murder in the small town of Oxbow, Saskatchewan. Live on the scene is Billy Joe Jim Bob. Billy, we'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Truth Ann. You can see here today that the horrific murder scene has been left untouched as forensic investigators are called upon to collect evidence. These specially trained police officers, known as crime scene investigators, will carefully document, photograph, or sketch the crime scene and collect any physical evidence that may help solve this awful crime. Crime scene investigator Magnesium Frizzle has agreed to speak with us today. Magnesium, when did this murder take place?
Well, that information is classified as the investigation is still ongoing. But I can tell you based on Newton's law of cooling that we can pinpoint the exact minutes our body was killed.
Did you say Newton's law of Kool-Aid?
No, actually, it's Newton's law of cooling. It describes the exponential decrease of temperature difference or time based on the difference in the temperature between the body and its surroundings. So, heat from the body will escape into the surrounding air at a steady rate. Because we know the ambient temperature as well as the current temperature of the body, we can calculate the time that the body was stopped producing heat, also known as the time of death.
Well, that's fascinating. How do you figure out where the killer was when the shot was taken?
Well, we looked at the angle that the bullet entered the body, and we also could see which direction the body fell. So you can see that from that we can see that the shot was taken from this balcony here. And not that I'm referencing this crime. This is all hypothetical, of course.
Are you suggesting that the murderer could be someone from this house?
Well, a neighbor did come by and mention that there's some shaped characters that live there, but I'm unable to relay that classified information as the investigation is still ongoing.
Well, I can confirm that assessment from the neighbor. So thank you for taking the time to talk with us, Magnesium. This is Billy Joe Jim Bob, live from the murder scene here in shady Oxbow, Saskatchewan. Over to you, Truth Ann.
Thanks, Billy Joe Jim Bob. Could the killer be someone from this house? Welcome to True News, where all of our news is obviously true, because we have true in our name. This is Truth and Honesty, and today we have with us here Magnesium Frizzle, the forensic investigator from the breaking news report from last week of the murder in Oxbow, Saskatchewan. Magnesium, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, please, just call me Maggie.
Okay, Maggie. At the scene of the crime, you gave us some fascinating information about how you solve crimes. We're here to ask you some more questions. So it seems like your job would take a high level of expertise. What kind of training do you have to go through to get to your level?
Well, so first I had to take a lot of science courses in high school. I love science. And then I majored in forensic science in college. And then I still had to serve as a general duty officer for several years. And then I had to complete 2 years of an understudy period in order to join the forensics section. Section that has to do for forensics.
Okay, so what's the ident section?
That just stands for identification. The training is intensive. It's intensive course. It's intense, and it involves coursework, research, and extensive written and oral examinations. We get trained in all sorts of crime scene stuff like photography and fingerprinting and DNA collection and the blood-to-blood spatter analysis, the pattern analysis. Our education is continued throughout our whole career as technology changes.
Okay, so if you cover all of these subjects, do you interact with many other personnel?
Yes, we work with a wide range, including law enforcement, and lab personnel and attorneys.
Wow. So last week we saw the fascinating work of like what you do out in the field. Does this require long hours? What are your hours like?
Well, not always, but as a CSI, you must be prepared to work long shifts, and you're on call, and you work day and night, and holidays and weekends.
Okay. Is it ever dangerous?
Well, anywhere a crime has occurred is where we work. So that includes areas that are unsafe or unsanitary. We work in all types of weathers and every type of environment, from like cramped basement, smelly basement, to dense brush, to like knee-deep, murky swamp water. But although these seem like crazy conditions, we do wear protective clothing. This is just a small example. Safety glasses. And then we wear and other safety equipment too. So the only danger we would really have is from natural causes. So the crime has already been contained by the time we arrive, so it's like, I'm not gonna get shot, which is good, because although this doesn't include the mental and sometimes physical stresses we endure.
So what other kind of stresses do you experience?
Well, we are around offensive smells and emotionally disturbing sites, so like body parts and body fluids that remain in every state of decomposition. So sometimes it's pretty scarring. At times we're under severe time pressures, and we still have to function carefully and methodically, which can be challenging. Our work is often smelly, messy, long, and physically demanding, but we find it rewarding, and we love the challenge of uncovering the physical evidence that puts the bad guys in jail.
Wow, that sounds like a really intense job that benefits us by creating, safer communities, by putting these felons behind bars. How much money do you get for doing this?
Well, I'm not gonna say my personal salary, but I know in Regina, which is near where I live, the average CSI salary is $101,899-ish a year, somewhere around there.
It's pretty exact.
Yeah, basically $49 an hour for those of you who can't really do math.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. It's a super cool job, and I highly recommend it. Our slogan at the shop is, "You stab 'em, we slab 'em."
Oh my! Well, you heard it live from the Fizzle's mouth. Now, for the Saskatchewan weather forecast.
Well, the weather outside is frightful, but that video was quite delightful.